For our third and final award for leadership in the public interest, we turn to Judy Woodruff, the co-anchor of PBS. And for many of us in Washington, I speak specifically of myself, I turn to Judy Woodruff for any major news. There is something called the expert's expert, and in Washington, Judy is known as the news professional's news professional. She came to Washington with NBC and was the White House correspondent in the Carter administration. She had grown up in Georgia. In fact, a little retro of me to mention it, she was Miss Augusta before going into journalism, and then went with PBS. Many of you will remember her wonderful Inside Politics program with CNN for 12 years, and then back with PBS, where she now holds forth. The reason that leadership in the public interest is sometimes awarded to a media person by Keystone is because of the very nature of the Keystone Policy Center is built around dialogue. And what is quality news but continuing the dialogue, often among contending forces and contending politicians, contending ideas? That's the nature of America. The 70-foot-high First Amendment that you see on the wall out front, I would argue, is one of the best ideas the Founding Fathers had. It's the steam valve that allows a country built around a set of ideas rather than just a geography or just a tribe to exist. And Judy, who is, I should also say, a member of our Newseum board and a superb one, has personified that. Not only in those network missions has she shown that ability to be a great and empathetic interviewer. I will tell you of one event here relatively recently that was the most extraordinary interview I have seen. She had on stage James Foley's mother. James Foley, you may recall, was the journalist who was decapitated by ISIS on film. She had, as it happens, another friend of mine, the State Department official who was in charge of revising the policy for dealing with hostages when they are taken overseas, and you remember the great criticism. He was quite nervous but held forth, and you also had the tough-minded head of a news organization who was talking about how news organizations have to make those decisions of who they send into harm's way. It was an extraordinary performance of shifting between empathy and listening and three very different viewpoints, all on stage. I don't know quite how she did it, but I want to say that it is that sort of interview that very few people in this town and in this profession could do. Judy would probably have been an enormous success whichever way she went. In a political year like this, we tend to see things in binaries. If Judy, for example, had followed, let's say, a Trumpian path with her life, she might have been Miss Universe by the time that was all over. But if Judy had, instead of marrying the great journalist Al Hunt, whose ego needs a little shoring up from time to time, if Judy had married a supportive political spouse, like, say, Bill Clinton, I think she might well have been the first female presidential nominee. But in point of fact, she and Al are the Nick and Nora Charles of Washington journalism, and just for our delectation, Judy is fresh today from interviewing Hillary Clinton. So to say thank you for all of your great leadership in the public interest, long may it continue. You are the pro's pro. Please come forward, take our award, and give us a word or two.
Well, if you all ever believed anything Shelby Coffey said before, now you know. Don't. We'll talk after dinner. I do want to say a word about Shelby. He is really one of, as I think everybody knows, one of the remarkable achievers in our business of journalism. He was a top editor. He was an executive at a major newspaper, a magazine, television network, and of course now at this great center. We know of his involvement here. Some of you may not know he's actually a boxing aficionado. He's not quite Muhammad Ali. He doesn't sting like a bee, but with his grace, he floats like a butterfly. So thank you, Shelby. I'll get you back later. I will be short. I know I'm the only thing standing between all of you and getting out on a school night, getting back home. I have to say I feel a little bit like, a minister at an Irish wake. They need you there in order to have the ceremony, but they really don't expect you to say very much. Thank you, Keystone, for this wonderful, wonderful award. I have to say I am here accepting, not on my behalf, but on behalf of the entire PBS NewsHour team. And I have to say that, I was reading in the program tonight more about the mission statement of Keystone, and I really, truly see overlap with what the NewsHour is. When you read that you're all about considering diverse perspectives, keeping up a dialogue, bringing different viewpoints together to try to illuminate, in our case, illuminate issues and spur vigorous and healthy debate. Yes, we do different things, but there is a lot of overlap, and so I feel like this is a great fit, what you do and what we do on our program. I stand before you really as just the tip of the iceberg of an amazing team of journalists who come together every day to do the best we can to figure out what's going on in the world, what's going on in this country, and how do we make it relevant for our audience. We don't have time in an hour to do everything, so we have to decide what really matters. And I will tell you right now, there are days when we come in and we believe when we start our morning meeting, there's no way we can cram it all in to 56 minutes in a night. But we also believe that the time has never been, the need has never been greater than it is right now for the kind of journalism that we and I think other outlets do, who follow basically along with our philosophy, which is we want to hear from both sides. We want to hear from all sides of the argument. We're not here to tell you what to think. We're not here to tell you what your opinion should be or what to believe, but to present to you both sides, whether it's a debate that you're familiar with or a new one. We're really here to illuminate and to help you make up your mind. So, yes, the technology has changed, but the core mission of what we do has never changed. From the time I first came on board, when Jim Lehrer and Robin McNeil expanded to an hour, to today when I'm with my colleague Gwen Eiffel every night, and I know she was honored just a few years ago by Keystone, and Jim Lehrer, our founder, was honored before Gwen. So on behalf of all of us, thank you very much to Keystone. Keep up the great work that you're doing. It's just a wonderful night, and maybe we'll find some news to cover this year. Thank you.